Liverpool thought they did a banger deal when they shipped Luis Diaz to Bayern Munich for €75 million.
A €75 million fee for the player, Liverpool giving the Colombian permission to travel to complete the move, and that would make him the third most expensive Bayern Munich transfer.
They saw a player prone to injury, a risk they don't need. But in just 10 games, Diaz didn't just prove them wrong. He exposed a massive mistake.
And out of nowhere, this Luis Diaz situation falls right into the lap and into the interest of Bayern Munich, and everything works out for Bayern Munich. Because I must say, I'll add another name, Rodrigo as well, who was discussed potentially going to Bayern Munich. Of all those names that I just mentioned, Luis Diaz is a really good fit for Bayern Munich, what they are and what they want out of that position coming from the left-hand side.
He's now dominating the Bundesliga with more goal contributions than any Liverpool attacker this season. This is the story of the player Liverpool gave up on and how he became Bayern's most terrifying new weapon. When Bayern Munich paid €75 million for Diaz, even their own fans weren't sure. The club was already stacked with wingers, Sané, Koeman, Gnabry, so why invest that much in someone Liverpool deemed expendable? It felt excessive, maybe desperate. But Vincent Kompany had seen something others overlooked. He wanted intensity, frontline pressing, and vertical running, the very qualities Diaz built his name on. In his first month, Diaz exploded. 10 goal contributions in 10 matches, 6 goals, 4 assists. Every game began to look the same way, him racing down the flank, leaving fullbacks dizzy and defenses broken. It wasn't just stats, it was pressure. Bayern suddenly had that old fear factor again, the one they'd lost when Musiala got injured. Kane loved it.
He looks hungry, he looks sharp, and yeah, it looks like he's happy to be here. He plays with a smile on his face. I thought today you could see he's very effective in the final third. And yeah, we're gonna need him this season, so excited to have him.
Instead of being isolated, he had someone who attacked the byline, someone who dragged defenders wide and created lanes for him to slip between. Kompany's vision of a direct, energetic Bayern was finally visible. Relentless pressing from the front, transitions at full speed, Diaz cutting inside to overload the midfield. What stunned everyone most was his work without the ball. Just like in his best Liverpool days, he hunted relentlessly. There's a clip against Leipzig. Bayern lose the ball. Diaz chases 30 yards, wins back possession, and instantly launches another attack.
Luis Diaz is a massive miss for me. When we look at Liverpool last year and how Liverpool used to press, I think he was arguably the one who would set the press in the front three.
The crowd goes wild, not just for the effort, but the audacity. It wasn't just individual brilliance. Tactically, he transformed the left flank into Bayern's main weapon. With Musiala injured, and Leroy Sané's exit,
Evet, Galatasaray 25. şampiyonluk 5. yıldızdan sonra şimdi bütün hazırlıklarını Şampiyonlar Ligi için yapıyor.
Diaz became the glue between Kane's goal machine and Kompany's high press intensity. He gave Bayern width, drive and emotion all in one package. While he was conquering Munich with sweat and style, back in England, Liverpool were realizing something was missing. The numbers told one story, but the football told another. Without Diaz, something fundamental about Liverpool's way of playing was gone. At first, it didn't look disastrous. Arne Slot arrived with new ideas, possession-heavy phases, patient build-up, clever rotations. On paper, Liverpool were fine, but when you actually watch them, something felt off. The energy, the bite, that spark from the left side, it wasn't there. Without Diaz, Liverpool became narrow, cautious, almost predictable. Their attack now funneled everything through the middle. Slot pushed Hakpo out wide, sometimes Elliott, even Gravenberch in desperate moments. None of them stretched the pitch. When Salah drifted inside, no one stayed high and wide to stretch defenses like Diaz used to. Opponents began sitting compact, pressing Liverpool with ease. The transitions that once killed teams turned sluggish. Diaz had been their true outlet, the player who turned defense into attack with one run. take him out, and you remove the team's release valve. It's why, under pressure, they now suffocate instead of explode. The data backs it up. Last season, Diaz averaged more successful carries and pressures per 90 minute than any Liverpool attacker. This season, their left side ranks bottom in progressive carries among the top 6 clubs. And it's not just numbers, it's movement. With Diaz, Liverpool could break lines through energy.
This lad, I feel, has almost, when he first signed, I think, as soon as I saw him, he didn't have the greatest game. I just thought, wow, you suit that red shirt. He just looked off the ball, he was challenging, he was running, he was closing things down. And we see this in the first couple of examples. I mean, the way he presses, it's just Liverpool.
Now, their ball movement depends on perfect passing patterns. The smallest disruption and the rhythm dies. Slot's insistence on control has made them predictable to defend. Every elite side, Chelsea, Arsenal, press their fullbacks knowing there's no runner to break lines on the counter. And here's the other key difference. Pressing. Diaz was the trigger of Liverpool's counter-press. His work rate forced turnovers high up the pitch. Watch any highlight reel from his time in red, you'll see him closing down a defender, nicking the ball, laying it off to Salah. Goal. That cycle no longer exists. Without him, Liverpool's press felt robotic.
Hungry to get the ball back for his team, interceptions. He brought something to Liverpool Football Club.
Against Chelsea, it cost them. In the closing minutes, a sloppy pass from McAllister should have been cleaned up by the front 3. Instead, Agbo drifts, Salah jogs, and Chelsea slice through midfield. Klopp's sides once prided themselves on those moments. Now, Slot's team concedes from them.
They're certainly losing control in important matches. I think about that first goal, the way they dissect Liverpool's midfield.
It's easy to blame tactics, but energy is contagious, and Diaz used to infect the squad with his. Even when things went wrong, he didn't hide. His enthusiasm dragged effort out of teammates who looked dead on their feet. Now, that passion is absent. Liverpool play technical, tidy football, but when games descend into chaos, they can't match intensity. Salah still scores. Of course, he'll always produce numbers, but look closer and his impact has narrowed. He doesn't press like he used to, doesn't track back as much, and needs others to do the running for him. Diaz once covered that gap, now it's exposed. Slot's Liverpool may have structure, but they lack fire. Younger options like Rio Namoha show glimpses. Fast, fearless, direct, but he's raw, not a regular starter, and not ready for the emotional or tactical weight of Diaz's role. It's not just about pace or dribbling, it's about timing, pressing angles, understanding when to sacrifice your run so another can break through. That's experience few can replicate. Then there's the wider tactical domino. Losing both Trent Alexander-Arnold and Diaz in the same summer ripped out Liverpool's vertical gears. Trent was the passer who pierced lines from deep, Diaz was the carrier who broke them higher up. Without either, Liverpool rely on slow central build-up. No wonder their opponents now press forward confidently, knowing there's no quick escape route. Slot has tried to adjust his shape, midfielders rotating wide, fullbacks pushing high, but nothing recreates Diaz's unique two-way output. He was a hybrid, winger, presser, emotional leader. And once Liverpool replaced him with control and calmness, the result wasn't transformation, it was erosion.
Isak and Ekitike's quality, but what I will say is that they're attack-minded players. I think with Luis Diaz, he would sacrifice himself a little bit more defensively, and that's the one thing that they have to figure out now is in the attack, who's gonna give themselves up a little bit.
The irony is sharp. In Munich, Diaz's chaos reignited Bayern. In Liverpool, removing that chaos reveals how fragile their control really was. Their system didn't just lose a player, it lost its edge, its width, its unpredictability, and the soul that wants to find their football. And yet, as painful as that truth became, Liverpool's front office still defended the decision. They called it evolution, but as Diaz's name echoed across Europe, one question began to haunt them. Did they sell the very thing that made rivals fear them? Inside Anfield's boardrooms, the debate that reshaped Liverpool's attack wasn't purely tactical, it was financial and emotional. Mohamed Salah's contract renewal had dragged on for months, his wages rising with every goal. At the same time, Diaz's return from injury coincided with those tense negotiations. The club told itself a story that Diaz's intensity had peaked, that his physical style made him fragile, that Slot's new system needed calm technicians rather than chaos merchants. So, when Bayern came with 75 million euros, they convinced themselves it was smart business.
I mean, yes, we can talk a lot about spending too much money. Yes, everybody will tell us on different platforms that if someone else did that, we would have said it's a terrible business. But if you have a look at the business Liverpool have done, I mean, these are players. Florian Wirtz will always get your money back.
But the football story told something else. Diaz's numbers, even in his so-called decline, showed relentless output, league-leading pressures, carries under pressure, and defensive recoveries in the final third. In other words, he was still everything Liverpool once stood for. He embodied the hunger of Klopp's early rebuild, players running themselves into the ground because belief mattered more than balance sheets. Slot's recent Liverpool had replaced that emotion with order. In seeking precision, they sacrificed personality. At Bayern, the same personality became fuel. Coaches said Diaz trained like a man fighting for his career, a player who sprinted even in five-a-side drills. When Vincent Kompany demanded a high-pressing, possession-breaking winger, he didn't just find a system fit, he found a mentality match. Diaz's passion, once framed in England as recklessness, became Bavaria's new identity. Meanwhile, Liverpool's dressing room grew quieter. Every team needs a spark, someone who celebrates tackles like goals, someone whose body language lifts tired teammates. For years, that was Diaz. His constant shouting, his laughter in training, his refusal to settle for half speed. It kept Liverpool human. Now, that hole shows up not only on the wings, but in the spirit of the squad.
Final half of the pitch, the midfield players and the forwards were absolutely useless. They were giving the ball away like you wouldn't believe.
You can design all the tactical diagrams you want, but you can't replace energy with geometry. The truth is that Liverpool's leadership misread both player and philosophy. They assumed modern football demanded sterile control, that intensity was old-fashioned, incompatible with Slot's measured approach. Yet, across Europe's elite sides, the most successful teams still run on emotion. Madrid's rallies, City's manic pressing, Arsenal's fiery edge. Liverpool, ironically, once wrote that playbook. Diaz's journey has become a mirror of that lost identity. In Munich, he plays like someone who remembers where he came from. The streets are Barrancas, the backyard turns, the refusal to slow down. His story reminds teams that football isn't only tactics, it's conviction.
Kane, they work something here. Diaz for Bayern! Luis Diaz!
Had Liverpool trusted that spark, Slot might have found the balance between evolution and heritage. Instead, they sold their rawest instinct for control, and in doing so, they handed another European giant the exact weapon they once wielded so effectively. In chasing evolution, Liverpool might have traded away their heartbeat. Luis Diaz was supposed to fade. Instead, he's thriving under the bright lights of Munich, proving that conviction still beats calculation. Bayern didn't just buy a winger, they bought belief. The very thing Liverpool decided they could live without.
A couple of days ago, he wants his attacking players to be able to press the ball. And Luis Diaz did that naturally with Liverpool, does that naturally with Colombia, and will do that naturally with Bayern Munich.
He's become the prototype for what Liverpool lost. Energy fused with artistry, structure bound to soul. The irony is painful, but poetic. The player they thought was done became the standard everyone now misses.